Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little bit since I posted a video, but that's because I've been really weirdly obsessed with this game, Children of Morta. This game is not new by any means. This game actually came out on Steam back in September of 2019. So it's been out for a while and I've been aware of the game, but I've just been a little bit hesitant and never really gave the game much attention, mainly because it's a pixel art game and on top of it a roguelike game, which is two genres that I'm really not a huge fan of and don't typically really enjoy all that much. I don't have anything against these types of games. It's just for me personally, I don't like to lose my progress. I like to retain my progress and become stronger with my character and my build as I go. And then on the pixel art spectrum of things, I just generally don't really play pixel art games. I've just never really been into them all that much. But I'm really happy I checked this game out, and I don't know why I waited so long. Shout out to 10 Squid of the DMGCREW. He gave me a shout and was telling me I should just check it out. You know, it's on the Xbox Game Pass. So I figured why not just heed his advice and go ahead and check it out. I downloaded the game on Xbox Pass, which we already have because my kids use it all the time. And, you know, about the first 10 minutes of the game, I just didn't really know if I really enjoyed the game. And before I knew it, it was about an hour and a half later of me playing through the game. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, is what I do enjoy about the game and why I really hope you don't skip this game like I did. My 5-year-old son and I played together on the Xbox Pass for quite some time. We actually played on my PC since I have 2 controllers there. And it was actually a blast to play with my 5-year-old. It was a little bit frustrating for him at times, but for me, I just loved it. And when he would only do like a map at a time and then want to take a break. And then I would find myself continuing. And before I knew it, I was just addicted and obsessed with this game. I decided to go ahead and pick the game up on Steam so that I could keep it permanently in case the Xbox Pass does expire. And also in the future, they're planning on adding online co-op to the game, and so I figured why not go ahead and just progress my account on Steam now since I'm enjoying playing the game. So I went over to Green Man Gaming, picked up the game. I also bought the Paws and Claws DLC that Shiori pointed out to me. Shout out to you for telling me about that. What's really cool about the DLC is it's like $4 or $5, but all of that money actually goes to charity to help out with the animals and stuff like that. So it's really a really cool cause and all of that. And the DLC itself does actually give you some pretty decent buffs in game as well. But the biggest draw for Children of Morta to me was honestly the skill trees and the way that progression really works in this game. I want to go ahead and break that down for you real quick in case you are wondering why I'm just now talking about this game. Each character has its very own skill tree that you can put points into. But what's really cool is the more that you invest into one character's tree, they gain these permanent passive family buffs that buff all the characters on your account. Because the big part of this game is each character that you play is part of the Bergeson family. It's all based around this family dynamic, which is cool. I didn't follow a lot of the lore. I was more interested in trying to get all these family traits for all these characters so that I can just be as strong as possible. And that was one of the big draws for me, is that each of these skill trees and buffs and family traits, they're permanent. I usually typically stray away from roguelike games because I just don't feel like there's that much progression. Now, I know games like Curse of the Dead Gods, you can put on different blessings, but you can only have 4 equipped at a time, even though I've unlocked 30 of them. But over here on Children of Morta, you're picking your skill path for that specific character and playing around their unique playstyle. There are 7 different heroes in this game, and they each are very, very unique. Anywhere from a melee tank to a ranged archer, a fire mage that cannot move when she attacks. There's even a monk type character that does kung fu, and then another one that heals and does different things and slows enemies. And it's just all around really diverse when it comes to all the different characters. But what's really cool is just how you retain your progress when you level up and invest into these skill trees. When you die, you keep the progress. That is so cool to me. That makes me want to keep playing and really investing time into this game to unlock all of the skill tree and see what I can do with each character's build. Before I continue and go a little bit deeper here on progression and upgrades, I think it is important to mention I did play the game using my controller for PC. I did play the local co-op, as I mentioned, with my son. And I did also play on Steam Remote Play with Bullseye. Another shout out to you. We did that one night on stream, and it was quite a blast. I mean, the co-op, I think, is definitely where the game really shines, trying to find those really cool synergies amongst all of the siblings and the family members of the Bergesons. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about upgrades. We talked about the skill trees and the family traits. I also want to touch on the upgrades that you can find when you're back at home, chilling in your family's crib. There are, first of all, you're going to unlock the workshop, and these are different pieces of gear, I guess. There's no real like true loot or itemization or anything like that, which is one thing I do miss when I'm playing this game. But within the workshop, there's 8 different items that you can upgrade, anywhere from max health, damage, crit chance, crit damage, resistance to impairing effects, rage gain, which is a whole nother thing we'll talk about in combat, dodge chance, and movement speed. If you're playing the game, I really recommend investing into dodge chance, crit chance, increased damage, and max health, and then maybe a little bit of crit damage. For me, I spend the majority of my points into increased damage. That just seemed to be the best bang for my buck. And then you also have more passive abilities over in the Book of Rhea, or Rhea, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but these I didn't really invest into at all. I mean, it just felt like there are more things that I would invest later on. There are different things like more luck, more XP gains. You can also make obelisks or shrines last longer for their buff, and runes last longer. These felt like things that would be definitely great to have, but they're just more of a utility instead of just a straight strength and power upgrade to my heroes. Last but not least, you have the DLC, the Paws and Claws DLC that I mentioned unlocks this animal shelter. And within here, these are temporary buffs that you can purchase. You do need to maintain these, and through each run you can find different animal foods to feed your animals. And you need to come in here between each mission if you want to maintain the buff. I thought it was just going to be a permanent upgrade. You know, I feed it and then I become like bonded with the animal or something like that, but it doesn't work that way. You need to maintain their happiness, and yeah, pretty much for me, I've just ended up saving up all my stuff when I really need that extra boost to get through a difficult dungeon. That's pretty much it for upgrades. There is in-run progression, in roguelikes you can find different abilities, different runes for your skills, and different passive buffs as well. These are all really neat and really cool, but again, when you die, you do lose those. But it definitely leads to more diverse and interesting runs each time that you'd go ahead and do a run. I know I've mentioned this a few times now in the video, but I just want to make one more final point of this because it really was an important part of, I think, my obsession and why I really enjoyed my time spent in Children of Morta. I absolutely love that you retain and keep your progression. It is a roguelike game. It's roguelite technically, which I think is kind of what put me off in the very beginning, over a year ago when the game came out. But seeing as how much permanent progression there is, it's just awesome. It's great for me. And then with the buffs being that you can find during your run that does cater into that roguelite aspect. For people that are fans of the roguelite genre, I think there's enough there for you as well. Last but not least, I want to talk about combat, flow of the game, just general gameplay overall. This is one of the other driving forces about what kept me going on this game and what I just really enjoyed. From that first 10 minutes that I played the game, I was a little bit on the fence. And then what happened was I was in the dungeon. I was in one of the first dungeons and I came across a buff shrine. They're called obelisks in this game. And I picked it up and got this buff, and it helped out with the flow of combat. And it was just that point that it really just clicked with me. All the way up to the next step was when I unlocked my rage meter. Rage in this game is you can build up rage by basic attacks, and you can trigger it kind of like an ultimate type of thing, and it makes you really, really powerful. And all of this just flows together so well within Children of Morta that I can get past the pixel graphics and the pixel art and just accept the combat and the gameplay for what it really is. When you first start out in the game, the dungeons are a little bit on the smaller side, but as you progress and get later on in the story, these dungeons become massive. I had runs last me up to 45 minutes or a little bit more if I'm fully clearing the dungeons. If you want to, though, you can just run through and skip straight to the boss. You're going to be giving up your in-run buffs and some of your blessings and things like that, but it's a viable option. Maybe if you're just sick of a floor and you just want to get through, you can just run to the boss. Me and my 5-year-old were actually doing that. But the dungeon crawling aspect itself is basically you go through and it's just like any other dungeon crawler that you've played, except for there's different event rooms and there's treasure rooms as well. Notated by if there's a golden door, there's going to be treasure in there, either a buff or an item. And then if you go in through a blue door, that's going to be some sort of event tied to lore. Maybe you unlock a feature in the game, something like that. So it's really kind of interesting once you figure out how that dynamic works. Once you successfully crawled your way through the floors in the dungeon, the easier dungeons have 2 floors. The ones later on in the game have 3 floors and then a boss. And the bosses in this game are really, really fun, engaging, and they're just all around great to learn. Once you figure out how the boss works, it's just rewarding to just be able to power through that boss the next time if you want to go back and farm. The game really eases you in nicely from just an early spider boss to a more complex boss each dungeon that you go up. One thing that I do have that's a minor complaint of mine is it seems like a lot of the boss battles, minus the ones that have the more complex mechanics, is it's just you go in and you just spam your attacks on the boss, maybe do a dodge here and there, instead of strategically placing your character and doing different things. But it's all around fun. The game's great, and I absolutely enjoyed my time with Children of Morta. Hey, I know I was late to the game. I know this game's been out for a while now, and I'm definitely late talking about it and playing it. But I want to do one more final shout out to you, 10 Squid, for telling me to check the game out, man. I'm really glad I listened. I was very resistant and hesitant, and I'm trying to make that a goal moving into 2021 in the future is when I get these game requests, just give them a chance. You know, this one was a no-brainer. It was on Xbox Game Pass, so which I already had paid for. So really, there was no reason to not check the game out. And I'm just so happy I did. Thank you so much, Squid, for recommending the game. That's going to wrap it up for this Children of Morta video. I had a great time. I hope you guys are enjoying the content on the channel. If you are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It is free. If you enjoyed this video and all the content on the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, or ring that bell notification to get notified when I post new weekly videos. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.